Good evening, this is Jim, N3JHB, that's November 3, Joliet Hotel Bravo, operating as W3OC net control for the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club net. This net meets every Monday night at 8 p.m. local time on this repeater. Membership in the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club is not required to check into this net, as all licensed radio amateurs are welcome. If you would like information about the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club, please write us at Post Office Box 225, Greenock, PA 15047, or you can visit us on the internet at TRARC.org. Radio Club meetings are held on the third Tuesday of each month, except with December, and they start at 7 p.m. Meetings are currently being held at the Blaine Hill Volunteer Fire Company's social hall. That's up there, 409 Oxford Avenue in Elizabeth Township, PA. Before I open this net for check-ins, does anyone need this frequency for emergency or priority traffic at this time? Does anyone have any information on recent silent keys? Nothing heard. Okay. Please, when you're checking into the net, give your call sign slowly and phonetically, and state that if you have any announcements or comments for the net. Before I begin taking check-ins over the air, I see we have 3 people logged in on Echolink. So let's start with AA3MR. Go ahead.
AA3MR. Good evening there, Jim, and everybody on in that name as well. Portable here, Clarton Works. Good evening, everyone.
And KC3ZIX.
W3OC, this is Kilo Charlie 3 Zulu India X-Ray, Jeff and Irwin. Good evening, Jim, and good evening, everyone on the net. No traffic for the net tonight.
Okay, and Antonio, AA3AC.
W3OC, this is Alpha 3 Alpha Charlie. Antonio here in Pittsburgh. I have no other comments for tonight. Good evening, Jim.
Okay, thank you, guys. We have AA3MR, AA3AC, and KC3ZIX on Echolink. Great. All right, now let's take some board of directors of the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club. Please come now.
W3OC, please recognize Kilo Bravo 3 Sugar Tango, Bob, Elizabeth Township. Good evening, no traffic.
W3OC. Recognize Kilo Bravo 3 Whiskey Papa. Bill here in Pleasant Hills. We're not doing too good. No traffic. Oh.
Net control, recognize Kilo 3 Charlie Romeo Oscar. John Baldwin, no comments, no traffic.
Okay, I got KB3ST, KB3WP, and KC3CRO. Any other members of the Board of Directors, Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club? Okay, now I'm looking for operators operating mobile, portable, or outside of Allegheny County.
W3OC. Check in, November 3, Tango Alpha, uniform, that's N3TAU, Norman Penn, Westmoreland County, Portable. Good evening.
W3OC. Kilo Bravo 3, Victor Sierra Papa, Dan Beaver County. Good evening. W3OC. This is Kilo Alpha 3, Kilo Sierra Papa, Jim Portable in Carnegie. Okay, I got M3TAU, KB3VSP, and KA3KSP. Anybody else, mobile, portable, or outside of Allegheny County? All right, now taking check-ins from many other stations wishing to check into the net. Come now.
W3OC. Here is Kilo 3 Hotel India Romeo, Merle and Elizabeth Township.
C, this is Kilo Alpha 3 Echo Kilo Oscar, Sabino O'Hara Township. Good evening to the net.
W3OC, Whiskey Alpha 3, India Oscar uniform.
W3OC, please recognize Kilo Charlie 3 Victor Yankee Mike West from Jefferson Hills. No traffic.
Okay, that time I got K3HIR, KA3EKO, WA3IOU, and KC3VYM. Anybody else want to check into the net? Okay, we'll go with that. You folks may be wondering why I'm on here and not Chuck. Chuck is under the weather, and we wish him a speedy recovery. Hope he'll be back next week, and let's all wish him the best. Okay, I got several announcements here. First off, we have our operations night for the Two Rivers Amateur Radio Club. That'll be up at the Lincoln Borough Volunteer Fire Department Social Hall, 4312 Liberty Way. That starts at 7 p.m. on Thursday. That is the second Thursday of every month, by the way. We're going to be going over some older equipment and also getting on the air. Saturday, July the 12th, very busy day. Starts off with our hams and eggs breakfast at the Rock Run Inn at the Butler's Golf Course. That's 800 Rock Run Road in Elizabeth Township, PA. That begins at 9:30. And following that, the Lincoln Borough Volunteer Fire Department is having our 13th annual car show. That's up there at the Lincoln Borough Volunteer Fire Department, right behind their social hall, and that's 4314 Liberty Way, Elizabeth, PA. And that starts at 11 o'clock and goes until 4. TRARC will have a table there, and we'll have a radio set up and be live on the air. So if you guys want to stop by and enjoy us and all the other cars out there, they usually get, I think it's close to like 50 cars or so up there. It's a big car show. In the event that we get rain, the rain date for that is July the 19th, but that'll be announced as soon as they decide what they're going to do. So I invite you guys to come out and support the Lincoln Borough Fire Department. For those of you who don't know it, our repeater is located there, and those folks treat us very well, and we support them in any way we can. Okay, club meetings coming up Tuesday, July the 15th at 7 p.m. Our meeting is at the Blaine Hill Volunteer Fire Department Social Hall, 409 Oxford Avenue in Elizabeth, PA. Okay, we also have Hamfest coming up. Those are, next one is Somerset on July the 20th from 8 o'clock to 1, and that's at the Somerset Technology Center. I'm not sure where that is. That's going to be followed by the Uniontown Club's Gap Fest. That is Saturday, August the 9th, and that is from 8 o'clock till 3, and that's at the at their club site there on Old Pittsburgh Road. And following that, we have Skyview's Hamfest, Sunday, August the 24th, and that's from 8 o'clock till 1. And that's up at the Skyview grounds up there off of Turkey Foot Road. Let's see, next one is Sunday, September the 7th, the Butler County Amateur Radio Club, and that's going to be at the Unionville Fire Hall. I was unable to find out the starting and ending time of that one, but I'm sure it's going to be somewhere between 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning till whenever. Two Rivers plans to have a table at all of these Hamfests, so you'll be able to see us there. As far as Hamfest and stuff, that's all I have on my list. Does anybody need a repeat of any of that information? Okay, well, let's see if I can get Newsline to work here. It's running 17 minutes, so we'll see how it does. Stand by for Newsline.
Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2488 with the release date of Friday, July 4th, 2025, to follow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The following is a QST. A team sets a world record for CW call sign copy, a high-flying field day experience, and meet our Young Ham of the Year for 2025. All this and more as Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2488 comes your way right now. From around the world, this is Newsline, Amateur Radio's first independent on-the-air news and bulletin service. Now reporting from Charleston, West Virginia, here's Jim Dameron in a TMW. Our top story this week takes us to Germany, where Europe's biggest ham radio trade fair was also the scene of a record-breaking achievement worthy of the Guinness Book of World Records. Jeremy Booth, G4NJH, brings us up to date.
Ham Radio Friedrichshafen theme this year centered around remote radio operations, but strong attendance proved that hams still like to show up in person to greet one another. An estimated 11,600 guests from 52 countries made the annual trip to Germany. Many of them were present as the Ham Radio Fair celebrated a record-breaking moment. A 13-year-old radio amateur from Romania surpassed last year's achievement in high-speed telegraphy. As spectators watched, mostly in silence, Ionis Gudaru, Y08YNS, achieved a maximum speed of 1,160 characters per minute for call sign copy, for a total score of 395,191, landing him in the Guinness Book of Records. The crowd erupted in cheers and applause only after he'd finished, and the announcement was made. Eunice, the son of Lucian, Y08SLC, has been practicing Morse code since the age of 8. This is Jeremy Bucci for NJH.
So, how was your field day? Here in West Virginia, it had one radio operator flying high. As we hear from Jim DeSalvo, W9TXJ.
The East River Amateur Radio Club in Bluefield, West Virginia picked quite the location for this year's field day.
We used the local municipal airport, Westwood County Airport, to be our venue.
President Dave Lester, N8VFR, said it was in a nice area outside of the airfield where they set up pop-ups and GOTA. As the event was winding down on Sunday, Dave was starting to think about packing up. Club member and pilot Jay Belt, K8CTI.
Well, Sammy said, hey, let's get on HF up in the air and Of course, I'm not going to say no.
Jay had put together a station, an HF rig.
His point is a quarter-hourly inset, and he had that from wing to tail.
Being in the air, Dave was easily getting through pileups.
I noticed immediately that I didn't have to turn the UFO very much at all to hear stations. You know, I guess elevation is probably just hearing everything.
In the air, they used Jay's call signs, and toward the end of the flight, Dave said he found the frequency.
And just started calling CQ.
There were some challenges, the logistics of logging, and
the radio and the tuner were through to this board, and I was having to balance it between my knees because there's no way in the plane to melt it down.
It was a total of 49 minutes from takeoff to landing. During that time, Dave snagged 11 contacts. It wasn't just the aircraft on the air which made the club feel they successful.
I was completely blown away and overwhelmed by the public reaction for our survey. You can't guess. That just came out of nowhere.
There were young adults in their 20s, an amateur extra who came out to GOTA for his very first time, and several people signed up for the club's exam.
It was definitely a positive impact on the community, and I guess being at the airport was kind of a draw.
I'd say. Jim DeSalvo, W9TXJ.
The ham radio community is grieving the loss of Roger Smallwood, innate EKG, president of operations at R&L Electronics in Ohio for more than 40 years. Roger, who had cancer, became a silent key on Saturday the 28th of June. In his online obituary, customers and longtime friends alike recalled his friendly, easygoing manner, his helpfulness, and his much-anticipated appearances at Dayton Hamvention. Many recalled the family business that he helped build, which earned the popular nickname the Candy Store for its assortment of amateur radio equipment. Roger is 55. For decades now, the race to the moon has always symbolized one of the biggest challenges in global space-based competition. The Russian EME contest doesn't use any spacecraft, however, just VHF radio communications, and it's a race to the moon that stirred interest worldwide for years. Jim Meachin, ZL2 VHF, explains.
Get ready for the second round of the Russian EME contest. Hosted by the Union of Radio Amateurs of Russia, the 6th annual international competition kicked off with its first round on the last weekend in June. Now competitors are preparing for the final round on July 26th and 27th. While the first round was held on 144 MHz, 432 MHz, 5.6 GHz, and 24 GHz, the second round will see amateurs trying for EME QSOs utilizing 1296 MHz, 2.3 GHz, and 10 GHz. Once again, hams will be making use of CW, SSB, and the digital mode. To see the results of last year's competition, visit the link in the text version of this week's newscast at arnewsline.org. This is Jim Meachin, ZL2BHF.
Our panel of judges has selected the 2025 Amateur Radio Newsline Bill Pasternak Memorial Young Ham of the Year Award winner. Mark Abramovich, NT3B, is chairman of the award committee and has the announcement.
She is 17 years old and from the small town of Columbiana in northeast Ohio. Meet Katie Campbell, KE8LQR.
You are the 2025 Young Ham of the Year.
Thank you so much.
Are you surprised?
Yeah.
Not expecting a call like this as the summer begins.
No, I was not.
Katie Campbell is a bright and talented advocate for youth in amateur radio whose interest in the hobby was sparked when she was 10.
I started an amateur radio electronics club my freshman year. Opened to just middle schoolers that year. So I joined, and pretty quickly I became about what my family has been sort of involved with. My grandpa had had his license since he was around 14, and then my mom, she also had her license since middle school, but I didn't know that until after she got mine. She wasn't very active in that as my grandpa.
Katie said she quickly got her ham ticket, advancing all the way to extra by the age of 11. She said she then discovered the music of Morse code. She immersed herself in CW and contesting and rose to become president of K8LPS, the Columbiana School Radio Club, located inside the science classroom of Katie's mom, Colleen Campbell, KB8VAQ. Her dad is Robert Campbell, KE8LYZ. Katie's maternal grandfather is Thomas Frost, N8GGK. It was her interest that got him radioactive again. Katie attended the Youth on the Air Camp in 2022 in Cincinnati and has been a key staff member ever since, doing public relations and mentoring campers. Katie has been a regular presenter at forums at the Dayton Hamvention, Hamstation, and CPAC. Katie has another opportunity as she begins her senior year of high school as an exchange student in Germany. She's hoping to make amateur radio a part of her experience. Congratulations, Katie, from all of us at Amateur Radio Newsline. I'm Mark Abramovich, NT3D.
Yes, Katie, and I echo those hearty congratulations. Time for you to identify your station. We are the Amateur Radio Newsline, heard on bulletin stations around the world, including the AA7WI 2-meter repeater in Tucson, Arizona, on Fridays at 7 p.m. local time.
This is W3OC.
Russia's space station partnership with the U.S. will soon be replaced by its own orbital station as Roscosmos prepares its first module. We hear more from Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
Just as the U.S. prepares to take the International Space Station out of service in 2030, the space agency Roscosmos plans to launch the first modules for its Russian orbital station, the world's first drone platform space station employing robot maintenance. The move also marks the end of international collaboration in space between NASA and Roscosmos. The Russian Space Agency is eyeing a 2027 launch for the first segment of its space station, the Scientific and Power Module, as the station enters a near-polar orbit. The full transition to the Russian orbital station is expected to be completed by 2030, just as the ISS awaits decommissioning. Other modules are also set for launch in 2030, including the Gateway, the Universal Node, and base modules. Roscosmos expects the spacecraft to establish several stable communication channels by 2030 as the number of communication devices increases over the years. Roscosmos views the space station as a permanent fixture for Russia's space activities well outside of Earth's orbit. This is Graham Kemp, VK4BB.
If you are involved in hurricane response here in the United States and are hearing this newscast before July 7th, a live-streamed roundtable hosted by the Federal Communications Commission on that date may be of interest to you. Randy Sly, W4XJ, explains.
The Federal Communications Commission has scheduled a live online roundtable that it hopes will help communicators, public safety workers, and power companies in collaboration during this hurricane season in the U.S. The Hurricane Season Resiliency Roundtable is taking place on Monday, the 7th of July, and will be conducted by the Public Safety and Homeland Security Bureau. Advanced registration is required. The program, which can be attended in person or via a live stream, will take place in 3 panel sessions. Challenges to response and recovery of power and communications outages in the aftermath of a hurricane will be the first topic covered. Collaboration will be explored in the second session. Current government, intra-industry, and cross-industry partnerships. The final session will look at planning ahead. It is called the Advanced Preparation Frameworks for Power and Communications. The roundtable begins at 9:30 a.m. at FCC headquarters in Washington, D.C. To register, see the link in the text version of this week's newscast script at arnewsline.org. This is Randy Sly, W4XJ.
In the world of DX, Aldir, PY1FAD, is on the air as 8R1 PM from Guyana until the 8th of July. He's using CW, SSB, and the digital modes on 160/6 meters. He's also making contacts by way of satellite. See QRZ.com for QSL details. Peter, LB2OB, is operating holiday style from Jan Mayen, IOTA number EU022, as JX/LB2OG for the next few weeks. He's operating primarily on 40 and 20 meters using SSB and FT8 QSL via his home call. Tim, N0UI, is on the air as ZD7TIM from St. Helena, IOTA number AF022, through to the 13th of July. Tim is using CW, SSB, and maybe some RTTY on 40 through 10 meters. Be listening as well on 6 meters if conditions are favorable. See QRZ.com for QSL details. Our final story isn't exactly a news leak, but let's just say that we really can't hold it much longer. Neither can Neil Rapp, WB9ZPG.
Are you sitting down? Well, it's time to lift the lid on the news. Toilets on the Air is coming in August. If you happen to be in the New York City area that month, well, you gotta go. You just gotta go. The amateur radio contest was begun by George DH5GH at the Chaos Communication Congress, a hacker conference in Germany. It is making its debut in the U.S. at the Hope 16 conference in New York City in August. Because Hope is a hub for hackers and innovators, contest organizer Todd Mazursky, KE2AEQ, thought this venue would be perfect to launch a creative challenge to license hams there. Activators select designated restrooms on the campus of St. John's University to make the most CW voice and digital contacts with others on 2 meters and 70 centimeters. Now, let's be clear. Activators are permitted to sit or stand while they're doing their business while holding their HTs, but they must be outside the restroom doors and a few meters away. They can only go inside the bathroom to go inside the bathroom for the usual reason. Yes, you heard that right. Bathroom breaks are okay. Now, that's a relief. Todd announced the contest on his blog. So did Thomas Witherspoon, K4SWL. It's posted on his site, the appropriately named QRPer.com. This is Neil Rapp, WB9ZPG.
I have to admit, I feel a little flushed after that story. A good QSO can be like poetry sometimes, so why not write a haiku about amateur radio and join the Newsline Haiku Challenge? It's as easy as writing a QSL card. We can only accept the correct haiku format, that is, a 3-line verse with 5 syllables in the first line, 7 in the second, and 5 in the third. Submit your work on our website at arnewsline.org. Each week's winner gets a shout-out on our website, where everyone can find the winning haiku. With thanks to Amateur News Daily, AMSAT, ARRL, BBC, Brown Dawson Flick Funeral Home, David Bayar, K7DV, DX World, 425DX Bulletin, SCC, Ham Radio Friedrichshafen, Lucian, Y08SLC, QRPer.com, QRZ.com, Radio World, shortwaveradio.de, Todd Mazursky blog, Union of Radio Amateurs of Russia, Wireless Institute of Australia, Zero Retries newsletter, and you, our listeners, that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline. We remind listeners that Amateur Radio Newsline is an all-volunteer, non-profit organization that incurs expenses for its continued operation. If you wish to support us, please visit our website at arnewsline.org and know that we appreciate you all. We also remind our listeners that if you like our newscast, please leave us a 5-star rating wherever you subscribe to us. For now, with Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the News Desk in New York, and our news team worldwide, I'm Jim Dameron, NATMW in Charleston, West Virginia, saying 73. And happy birthday, USA, and God bless America. As always, we thank you for listening. Amateur Radio Newsline is copyright 2025, all rights reserved.
This concludes tonight's Newsline transmission. A couple other things. We have the Wednesday night GabNet, which is on this repeater. It starts at 8:30 and is hosted by Steve, W3SHF. We go for a couple hours, and lately we've been getting a pretty good crowd, so I invite you to stop by. That's Wednesday night at 8:30. This Thursday is operations night, so there will not be a 10-meter net this coming Thursday. So they'll start back up again next week. No Thursday night net this week. Okay. Anybody else want to check in? Any late check-ins for the net? None heard. Okay. I want to thank everybody for checking into the net or listening, wherever you might be. I count 13 check-ins this evening. And, again, you can join us on any of our other nets during the week, but no 10-meter net this week, and Wednesday's a GabNet. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close the net, and I'm going to return this repeater back to general amateur use. 73. This is W3OC Net Control, also known as M3JHB. I'm clear.